We need to get Dylan and other Bonk Bros, if you want, out to Alabama to meet up with that guy, John, who's doing all the outdoor gravel and mountain bike. Oh, we already talked about this guy. Those two can make a legit tire testing YouTube video. Any chance of that ever happening?
No.
Are you over it? Are you done with your tire testing?
Alabama to tire test. I barely drove 20 minutes to do it.
What up, party people? Welcome back to another episode of the Bonk Bros podcast. And I hope that you are as into Unbound as Dylan is right now, because pretty much every conversation seems to somehow land on Unbound. So you know Unbound must be coming, and that is what is tip-top on Dylan's mind right now. Quick thank you for all of your continued support through our show partners. We love hearing the satisfaction from our partners that we are sending some valuable traffic their way. It's mutually beneficial because we're helping you save some dollars while also getting some valuable street cred from our partners. So here's a pro tip for you though. If you want to support two of our partners with one transaction, did you know that you can buy all of your SILCA products over at Bike Tires Direct? That's right. They are a distributor for SILCA, which means you can head there for everything you could possibly need for your bike, including all those marginal gains products over at SILCA. Just put it into your cart on BTD, type in the code BONKBROS for that listener discount, and boom, one-stop shop. Or if you just want to spend some extra time because don't want to get back to whatever busy work you have to do behind the computer during the workday, then that's fine too. You can always head over to SILCA and buy their products directly from them using the code BONKBROS Unbound 2025. That's right, we got a new code for y'all. Capital B BONKBROS Unbound 2025. You can also look in the show notes for how to spell that because it's kind of wonky. There's some upper cases, there's some lower cases. Capital B, capital U. Remember that? It's all good. And then last but not least, we have our friends over at KETONEAID, which are helping you with all of your energy and recovery gains. So make sure you check them out. You can get different variations of the flavors and how concentrated of a variation you want to get based on your desired taste needs. You can use the affiliate link in the show notes for free shipping. If you have any questions or feedback for the show, you can drop some at bonkbrospodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on the Bonk Bros Instagram page, or you can head over to Patreon and get priority for all those questions that you have. Like this week's question, which is a doozy on the topic of what? Tires and Unbound, that's right. So yeah, tune in. You can head over to Patreon and support us there as well. Oh yeah, hey, one more thing that I forgot to mention. So our friends from down yonder at Gravel Worlds, that's right, the Gravel Worlds in Nebraska, the OG Gravel Worlds, not the UCI Gravel Worlds. Some of them are going to be putting on a new event, and you guessed it, in Hawaii. That's right, Aloha Gravel. Registration opens up, now, because it's should open up basically right when this episode comes out. So if you're listening to this now, registration is probably open, and there's only going to be 200 spots available. It's going to give you a chance to explore all of West Maui's gravel roads and some single track trails. The event is scheduled for November 29th, 2025, and 100% of the profits are going to local nonprofits. So head over there, check out the registration, get on it now because 200 spots is going to sell out quick when you've got a destination like that. All right, let's get this party started. So was there any bike racing this past weekend?
I ceased to be a fan of bike racing. I didn't watch any bike racing to speak of.
Just because you're too deep into your Unbound block or what?
So deep, bro. Yeah. So deep into it.
Who trained more hours last week? You or Scott?
Me, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If Scott was actually paying attention, maybe he could tell us how many hours he trained, but
I'm paying attention.
Scott, what do you think's bigger, Unbound block or Pro Road Nats block?
What's harder or bigger?
This harder and bigger? Isn't that what the people really want?
I don't know. It's probably like if both people are training as hard as they can, then they're both just as hard, right?
That's always, that's actually what I always say. You know how people like to have the argument about, oh, this sport is harder than this sport, or that sport is harder than that sport, whatever. People always argue about what sport is harder. And it's like, look, different sports have different demands, but if you're trying as hard as you can at whatever sport you're doing, every sport is equally hard because you're going the hardest. Like they're harder in different ways, but
Sure. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, but like a ball sport, you can just ride off your talent more than you can in an endurance sport. You wouldn't know because you've never played any sports. You don't.
Yeah,
you
I
don't know
mean,
anything about
there are
it.
definitely
You literally know nothing.
yeah, there are definitely sports. Endurance sports are I feel like kind of unique in that like you have to be conditioned properly. Like there's no faking it. If you don't have the fitness, like you're just not going to be there.
yeah, but a ball sport, you have to practice that sport or else you're
Yeah,
going to
but some people are just like good. Of course, they
some
still
people
have
are
to practice
naturally
to be-
good. Some
Yeah.
people are naturally good at riding a bike without riding a bike that much.
I know, but like you could
I
go
hate those people.
you could go you could go
I
2
hate
months
those
without
people.
playing basketball and then go to the gym for 30 minutes, warm up and like have a great game.
Dizzle, let me blow your mind right now. Compared to the average person,
Again?
you are those people.
You're gonna do it again?
You are those people, Drew. You said I hate those people. Guess what? You are one of those people
You
compared
mean-
to the average person.
What do you? I do 30 plus hour weeks all the time. How does that require?
Yeah,
how
you
is
do
that
30
me barely riding?
You do 30 plus hour weeks to be average amongst professional riders.
Yeah.
But compared to the average person, you could not ride your bike for the next year and you'd be better than the average person.
Because I've worked my tail off, bro.
But also when you started riding your bike for the first time in your life when you were a teenager, you were better than the average person
Yeah.
already. And you didn't even ride your bike.
Even on 30 hours a week, the average person couldn't be as good as you are, Drew.
And I'll never be good as the top sniffers.
Oh my God. We can't have this
Well, yeah,
conversation.
that's a fact, but that's
Yeah, I'm happy with I'm a happy guy here.
It's exactly what somebody who's not happy would say.
Alexi put out that video talking about his training and he's like, "Oh, it's the same but just a little more." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah. For you maybe."
How much?
I feel like Alexi trains on the low end of
He does train on the low end. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said for Unbound he'll do a couple 30 and 33 hour weeks or something like 30 to 33 is where he'll be for his Unbound block.
I mean, that's
still
pretty
a lot.
That's
yeah,
a
that's
lot.
what I'm saying.
lot,
That
yeah.
is a lot.
That's significant.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. He did have that post about his like Tucson training block
Yeah.
that I totally thought was 1 week, but it was 2 weeks. And he did like 50 hours in 2 weeks. And I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
dude,
Gotcha.
Lachlan's recovery week is 25 hours, bro. If he even has recovery weeks.
His recovery week is like flying across the world and having jet lag for 4 days and then still going and doing like 400K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you trying to do a 40-hour week, Dylan?
No, I'm doing 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks this year. So I'm not going to hit 40 hours for 1 week, but it's going to be like, my block ends today. This is the last day of the 3 week block.
And you're going to recover for 3 weeks?
Well, I'm gonna recover for a week, and then for a week it'll
Get
probably
sick.
be like a normal-ish. Yeah, maybe I'll get sick. Maybe I'll have an overuse injury. You never know.
You would wait till the last second to tell me. I've been trying to like squeeze out of you what your training looks like so that I could just do what you do. And
Why don't
not
you just
screw
come
it
up with your own plan?
I
Yeah,
did.
Drew.
I did,
you
but
could
it's
come up
nice
with a
to
plan
know,
that's
like, oh,
Better than Dylan's plan.
Drew, do you ever
yeah,
think that
well, his
maybe
results are
like
better than mine? So it's hard to.
Well, yeah.
say.
So if Dylan's talent level is higher than yours and
my
you do
God.
the exact same
Who gives a
training as
shit?
Dylan, then that means you're never going to be as good as Dylan. You got to
gotta be
do
better
more
than
training
Dylan.
and better training. Yeah.
You got to eat meat. There's some low hanging fruit already.
Hang out with friends.
Yeah. Just be social. Be happy and social.
have a child?
two.
Two?
Too.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, it's
I feel
so
pretty good about my plan.
So wait, so we were talking about Dylan's plan though.
Oh, my bad.
So this is the last day of the block, and I'm not just gonna sit on my ass for 3 weeks. I'm gonna like sit on my ass for a week, have a normal training week, and then taper. But it was 33 hours for the first week, 35 hours for the second week, and depending on how long I ride today, I think it'll be another 35. So 33, 35, 35.
We better end this thing early, man.
I know. That's why I was saying, like, we can't wait for Drew to get on. We have to start recording.
How many hours do you need to hit 35?
Today?
Yeah.
I think like 6 or something.
That's
easy.
Nothing, dude.
Yeah, come on.
I know. I'm probably going to hit it.
You can hit 40, dude.
Early, you can leave it.
You can hit 40 hours, dude. Think about it.
Yeah.
Could I?
It'd be pretty close. Why don't you
No,
just go do 200 miles?
I'd have to add 5 hours onto 6, which is 11.
11 hours. Yeah. If you go
My
do
math is
200,
correct.
don't you need the confidence before you go into Unbound that you can ride 200 miles?
I've ridden 200 miles 5 times. Every time I've done Unbound, I've finished. So
Yeah, but you haven't done it in a year.
What's
Things
the
change
longest
in a
ride
year.
that you'll do pre-Unbound? You don't do really long rides. You just stack
like
6-hour rides.
7.5. 7.5 was the longest one I did in this block.
So what is that?
I
Like,
did a longer
on the
ride
road
the
is like
other day.
150 miles or something?
Well, that one that I did that was 7.5 had a lot of climbing, so it was like 130 or 120.
Yeah, I feel like Scott's already ridden longer than you.
Yeah, dude. Training for road nuts.
Scott's harder, though.
In the rain.
In the rain.
I flatted.
He had to add that. He had to make sure he added
I
that.
flatted and then I took my tube out. The valve stem's like this big, too short, and then so I couldn't change it. So I had to ride like 20K on like 1 or 2 psi because it like kind of sealed. This was not the sealant's fault, by the way. The
1
tire was
PSI on a road
completely
bike? That's like
trashed.
actually flat, though.
Yeah, I mean it was flat.
Mhm.
And then I go to this bike shop and I'm like, hey, you got any tubes? No tubes. No tubes. You got like any sealant? No, I just ran out. No sealant. Nope. And then he's like, oh, you got
any bubble gum?
Like, do you have any solution to fix a flat tire? Like the most basic mechanical on a bike. He's like, nah, good luck. Good luck.
What?
What?
So I had
What
to-
bike shop was this?
You're
We
gonna
should
give
even
this
call
guy
them
a
I
out.
was like, it was literally at the farthest point of my ride. Like if I needed to get picked up, it would have been like a 2-hour drive for someone to come
Jeez.
pick me up. Let alone like if somebody was available to pick me up. And then I ended up asking him for a patch kit and like just like glued the hole shut with like the rubber cement that comes in a patch kit. And then patched
Nice.
the
kit. I haven't
outside.
used a patch kit in a
Wait, so you
decade.
use the patch kit and then you put a tube in it?
No,
Or
no
did
tube.
You
And
still ran it
then-
tubeless.
Yeah, I glued the hole shut.
Sick.
And then I pumped it up to like probably like 40 psi because I didn't want to have too much pressure in there to blow the hole out again. And then rode like 100K home.
Dude, you know what? I think road tubeless is kind of bullshit.
What?
Why?
I
It's faster.
I know I think when it works, it's great, but it is kind of a pain to set up.
What do you mean when it works, dude?
Okay, if it doesn't work,
This was not the fault of the tubeless. The tire.
No,
was
I know, it's-
completely smoked.
the fault of the tubeless is the fact that you
never-
can't put a tube in it. Like,
you can't
and I
put
feel
a
like that-
tube in it.
why didn't you put a tube in it? Because you couldn't get
'Cause
the
my-
valve out.
My
No, the valve
stem on the
his
tube was too short.
because he's
Oh, it's
got
too
deep
short.
dish
That was
Okay.
my
wheels.
fault for not checking
okay.
the stem length because I have 50 mil wheels on my road bike, and it was like a 48 mil tube.
I tried to set up I had set up some wheels tubeless for road in the fall because I was hoping to maybe do some road riding this spring, and I let the sealant dry out, and now the tire is flat, and I can't get the tire off. It's like literally the tire is so stuck on this wheel. It's because I think the road tires have to be tighter in order for it to seal up better, or maybe it's so they don't burp or something. I don't know. But they like the fit on the rim is way tighter than you have with gravel or mountain bike tires. And I like literally spent like half an hour trying to get this tire off and I couldn't get it off.
This is not a conversation that people should be having in 2025. This is a
I know it's
conversation that
not.
people had like in 2015. Like, oh, road tubeless. Is that the future or not? At this point, it's like, if you run tubes, you're an idiot.
I agree. That's why I set it up tubeless. But
It is
I
messy.
also haven't ridden a road bike in 5 years. So this is basically me having this conversation in 2020.
When you flat, I guess when you flat any time with tubeless and it doesn't seal, it just sprays you with sealant. And then if you don't wash your bike when you get home, it's disgusting.
I don't know. Maybe it's these tires. Like these are the Envy road tires. Maybe these tires are just way too tight or something. I don't know.
It sounds like the sealant did its job. You just didn't ride it. I think that's the problem.
No. Like I've broken the bead off the seal. I just like literally can't pry the tire off the rim.
Well, how'd you get
using
on?
every single type of? I don't know. I don't remember how I got it on.
I don't think that's a tubeless issue. I think that's I
think it's maybe these tires are just jank
it's
or
just
something.
tight.
Why don't you get some different tires?
Jank. They just have tight tires, man. Also, why are you running Envy tires?
Wow, you're so judgmental.
I got them for
Such
cheap.
a tire snob.
And they had the size that I wanted.
You're just realizing that now, Drew. I'm a tire snob.
Mean to people.
I needed 29.
Why are you running Envies, you idiot? Come on.
No.
It's a good question because they're not working for me.
In 2025, you're still running tubes in any bike whatsoever.
Do they make gator skins tubeless?
No.
That would be the setup. Then you don't have to set it up like once every 3 years when you swap those suckers out.
What tubeless tires do you guys like? I'll just get some different tires. I'll just cut these ones off the rim maybe and then get some new ones.
GP 5000.
Okay. I haven't run those with the tubeless because they came out after I stopped riding road.
I was wondering the same thing. What if I wanted to get some like 35 mil slicks, like road tires? What are the ones that would last the longest? Don't care about performance. The longest.
Not Schwalbe's.
I mean, probably Refuse or
the Rubinos. Vittoria Rubinos last kind of a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't get the Refuse. The Refuse tires like actually ride sucky.
He said he doesn't care about performance.
Just want it to last.
You don't care.
Don't care. I want it to last as long as possible.
Then why wouldn't you just get a gator skin in 32?
Tubeless.
You know, Dizzle, you can just get a solid rubber tire that has no air in it. You'll never get a flat.
Can I do that tubeless?
It doesn't need to be. It is tubeless.
There's no air.
There's no air, dude.
I try to make a joke and you guys just don't even pick it up.
Oh, well.
What about the Schwalbe Pro ones? The last time I ran road tubeless, I rode those tires, and I liked those a lot.
I raced those for years. I liked them a lot. Those were like my go-to road tire when I was racing crits.
I mean, the thing about the GP 5000 is as far as a fast tire goes, like the GP 5000 is so fast that you could race on it. You could race road on it. And I never have any issues with it. Like I never flat. It sets up tubeless.
Don't care to spend $100 per tire.
I guess, but like GP 5000s easily last an entire training season for me. Like a full year.
Do they make them in what size do they make them in? 30. I might be able to fit a 30.
I run the 32s.
What about those Panaracers, like the old school Panaracer slicks? That's what I was thinking about getting.
Dude, you can get them they're on sale right now on Bike Tires Direct for $72. That's a pretty good deal.
Panaracers or
No, dude, the GP 5000s.
No one cares about the Panaracers, dude.
Yeah, those Gravel King slicks. I think those would last a long time. Are we
talking about a road tire or a gravel tire right now?
But a 35 slick could be either. It could be a road or
They make transparent and cream colored ones.
Interesting.
I think the cream ones would look dope. I've got a black CAD 10 that they're going to go on.
CAD 10. I had a CAD 8 in college. Did you know they even made a CAD 8?
I had a CAD 9 in college.
I know CAD 9s and CAD 10s are pretty popular, but
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I had a CAD 8 in college, which I didn't even realize. Somebody gave it to me for free. I didn't have a road bike. And they were like, here, you can have this frame. And I got it.
Yeah, I'm still searching for my dream CAD 10. If anyone in Listenerland has one of these, I'd maybe buy it off you. The black in like silver colorway, where it's like, it looks kind of like raw aluminum.
You have a dream CAD 10.
Yeah, dude, that bike is so sick,
I
dude.
thought
Who
the Cat 8
dreams
I
about
had
a
was
Cat
sick.
10?
I wish
I
I had
still
sold
do,
it.
dude.
I wish I still had it. That thing was sweet. I custom painted it. It was the black and green colorway, and then I added a bunch of extra green to it. It looked sick. But the chain stays were so small that when I was at Marion and we had zips to race, most of the wheels wouldn't fit into my bike because the rim, not the tire, the rim would touch the chain stays. Like when I stood up, the rim would go.
Yeah, I remember like my CAD 9, and I'd have to look at the CAD 10. Maybe it's the same. Like the way the tube and the chain stay like kind of it like tapers at the axle, but then it widens a lot at the bottom bracket junction.
Mm-hmm.
So like I could see that, like, because the zips, like the way that the profile is, it's like the widest point is not where the rim meets the tire. It's actually like, whatever, 10 millimeters
right
down the rim from that. Yeah. So I could see that.
Drew, what are your thoughts on the 303 Explorer wheel? I've heard very mixed reviews on the 303.
In what regard? Like how they feel, or
just everything? Like,
you have to wait for the video I'm going to put out this week.
Oh my! Come on, dude!
I did a bunch of testing on those last week.
I guess we can talk.
I don't want to spill the beans.
How bad your video was.
So is this
got 23,000 views? I don't give a rip at how good or bad it is. All I
thought
care
the video
is
was,
that it got
I thought the video was
23,000 views. That's
is your 35-hour training week including like the time you spend stopping and switching all these tires and everything, just a rolling clock, or
me?
Like, is the testing time included in that?
No, not elapsed time.
Where do you find the time for all this?
So, Dizzle,
it didn't take me that long. All I had to do was swap the wheels. All I had to do was swap the tires once. I just had to swap them from wheels to wheel. And it was an endurance ride anyway, so I rode the whole time, and then it took me like 20 minutes to swap the tires.
So Dizzle, here's a piece of YouTube advice. Like, if you
hit me with that YouTube advice.
Like, you can get a lot of views on one video one time, but if you have a good reputation on YouTube, then you can get a lot of views on every video every time, as opposed to having a bad reputation on YouTube and getting good views on one video and then people being like, oh, that's that guy that does that. I'm not even going to bother watching it.
Yeah,
and then
most of the comments were positive.
Dylan's a prime example that you don't have to make good videos to get a lot of views.
Who?
The top
Dylan.
comment. I clicked on your video and the top comment was, I got 2 minutes into this video and I decided that the Giro recap was a better use of my time.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. Why would you click? If my video is next to the Giro, why would you even click on my video? You're an idiot for even doing that. Yeah, I'm with that guy. You should watch the Giro, and then if you got spare time after that, then you watch my goofy video. I'm not trying to compete with the Giro d'Italia, buddy.
Yeah.
I thought it went over well. I thought, I don't know. I tried to edit it even better. I spent time learning how to do a couple new things with editing, and I trying to get better at the whole thing.
Also, I know that you poking fun at me in the video is it's all in good fun. We poke fun at each other, but also
I pissed him
off. The things that you say in the video are things that I've said in my video. You were like, well, a mountain bike tire is slower on the road, and it's that's literally exactly what I said.
I clipped a part of where you said you thought a mountain bike tire would be faster on the pavement, and I put that in my video.
Well, you know why I thought that? I didn't think that for no reason. Both Payson and Keegan, Max's sponsored athletes, I wasn't testing Max's tires when I tested my tires, but Max's sponsored athletes actually find that the Aspen ST is faster than I can't even remember what Max's gravel tire is.
Rambler?
It's so forgettable. On
Reaver.
On pavement, it's faster.
Yeah, but that's because their other tires just particularly bad.
I know. Yeah, I mean, it's a Maxxis gravel tires, right? So,
yeah, because I know about that.
Yeah. I actually don't think that it's like out of the question that a mountain bike tire with a lightweight casing could be faster than a gravel tire with a heavy casing on pavement. But in that particular scenario that I tested, it was not. So,
any more feedback?
No, I don't know. Congrats on getting 23,000.
Were you offended that I put bad Dylan Johnson tire advice as the?
I think that was fine.
I didn't ask your permission, but I'm like, I don't even care if I ruin this friendship.
Dylan, you should do a reaction video.
I'd rather get the views.
No, that was fine. I mean, that was like appropriate clickbait.
I copied your title almost exactly. Your video was what is the best gravel tire width, and I just left out the word width. But exact same title.
Yeah, I mean, no, that was appropriate clickbait. I think it was all. Yes. I think it was something that
that's what I was going for.
I think it was something that you said in the in Trey's video, the bicycle station video. You were like, some people are so some people are so far down one thing that they're like in a cult or something.
Yeah,
like they believe something so heavily that they can't.
Yeah,
and
you were offended.
I don't know. I just disagree with that.
Okay.
Like I feel like I very much base my opinions on evidence. And I even said in my own video, like, I care more about being faster than I care about being right.
Oh, yeah. Trey I think Trey or somebody, yes. I think Trey quoted that or something.
Yeah. And 100%. Like if I've been dead wrong about mountain bike tires on gravel this whole time, and it's faster to run a gravel tire on gravel, I'm going to switch back to gravel tires because I want to go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's, I think you're right.
But what if the mountain bike tire is more fun?
Ooh, who cares?
Nothing's funner.
You're asking the anti-fun.
Nothing's more fun than going half a second faster over the course of Mach 200 miles at Unbound. You know what I mean? Nothing is more fun than saving half a watt over 10 hours of racing.
That's true.
You should try bow fishing. It's pretty fucking fun.
Dylan, have you seen any of the tire testing that guy John Koresh has done?
He messaged me. He was like, welcome to the tire testing world. I think it was him. I had no idea who he is.
Karish, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, so like after Drew's video, I started thinking more, because Drew, like your test methodology, which is like fine, like you can do whatever testing you want, but like you were just looking at average power and then lap time, right?
Say it again.
And to me, like that's a little bit too simplified way to look at it if you're just trying to look for tire rolling resistance. So I was like searching around for like other test methodologies, and I came back to the Chung method, which is what someone in our like one of our listeners brought up a while back. And when they brought it up a while back, I'd never heard of it, so I kind of scoffed at it. But then I looked into it more and like tried to understand the methodology, and it makes a lot of sense. Like and I think that's what John Koresh uses is the Chung method, and it's basically trying to extrapolate out some of the other variables and factors that contribute to like the time basically. Mm-hmm. But I was just curious, Dylan, if I couldn't actually find like where all of his data was published. But I just found like different articles that he was explaining like his test methodology, and then some other articles that like were referencing some of the data, but I don't know where it's like actually published.
Yeah. I wish that I knew off the top of my head. Sorry, John.
I don't know if it is like, maybe it's behind a paywall or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I mean, so what I will say about testing in the real world, and like so many people shit on bicyclerolling-resistance.com for this, and so many people shit on like my video, which was done in the Silverstone lab for this. They're like, oh dude, like if I was racing on a steel drum, maybe I would take this data seriously. It's like, look, if you're testing in the real world, there could be a 1 mile per hour difference in wind change from one test to another, and you completely fucked the whole test. Like the whole test is screwed now.
Yeah.
And people don't realize like the wind I mean, there's a lot of variables, not just wind, temperature, whatever. Like there's a lot of variables to consider, but wind just wreaks havoc on tests. It's just, I mean, it is so difficult to test outside when you're taking into account wind. So,
yeah. And like if you're testing across variable surfaces, line choice plays a huge role too. Like everyone's been there where like you deviate from your line by 2 inches and all of a sudden you hit sand and it like slows you down. Like do that 10 times and that's 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna. So So here's the thing though. So I agree. I think doing it in the lab and trying to isolate as many variables as possible out of the equation is definitely, at least if you're just looking at the rolling resistance and comparing across tires, I think makes a ton of sense. One thing that I would love to see though is an update to the mountain bike test protocol. I think you've got to run lower pressures. Like the fact that the extra low tire pressure is 25 PSI for mountain bike tires just doesn't make sense. Because it makes it like really hard to compare that tire to another tire.
Yeah, I know. I know that's really high for a mountain bike tire. The thing that I'll say about bicycle rolling resistance on the drum is that a drum, and people always quote the bicycle rolling resistance watt losses as if that's absolute in the real world. The watt losses on bicyclerolling-resistance.com are higher than the real life watt differences because the drum is deforming the tire more. So you got to take that into account. So it like say if it's a 5 watt difference between this tire and that tire on bicyclerolling-resistance.com, it's not actually a 5 watt difference in real life. It might be a 3 watt difference.
For sure. But I just think like in this era where mountain bike tires are being used across categories and now they're being used in gravel, it makes it hard to do a like apples to apples comparison of the Race King versus the Conti Terra Speed. Because you don't have that perfect, you can use one of the higher pressures, I guess, of the Conti, which is fine. But I don't know if that's like the best way to compare it either. Like you could try and get whatever the relative pressure would be. Like instead of 25 PSI for the mountain bike, maybe it's 35 for a 45 mil Conti Terra Speed. I don't know. But also I think it would be cool to see, and it doesn't have to be with every tire, but like some testing done at different speeds, because it'd be cool to see what the variation is, and because it's not going to be a linear change. So the distribution is going to be exponential to some extent, and it might even be stochastic to some extent, depending on the tire casing and everything. So like it'd be kind of cool just to see a couple tires compared at 4 or 5 different speeds, so you can get a sense for like how the tire is going to perform at varying speeds.
Yeah, I mean, when I did my testing in Silverstone, we did 2 different speeds, and it made a difference to the ranking of the tires. Yeah, so it absolutely makes a difference. You know what I was just thinking about, like, and I've thought about this before when I've done this testing, and the wind, like small changes in wind can completely screw up the test.
Wait, let me guess. You were thinking about all the different reasons why you don't have a girlfriend.
What?
Oh, wait. Oh, no. It was tire pressure? Oh, dang. Okay. Go on. Sorry. I didn't.
Wait. Hold on, Drew. Before you go back to looking on your phone for some reason, can you explain that?
I'm just messing with you. I was just trying to make a joke.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? What do you think about in your spare time? Hit us. Okay. Hit us, buddy.
Time trial. You know how people are like, oh, a time trial, the race of truth, right? Time trial is the race of truth.
Also, why do I get in trouble for being on my phone and Scott spends half the podcast on his phone?
I mean, you guys should both be in trouble. We're on a freaking podcast. Okay, people are like, time trial, the race of truth, right? That's what it's called.
I've never heard that. That's a tattoo. The race of truth.
No, but it's not though.
That's cool.
It's kind of bullshit. It's kind of bullshit that a time trial is the race of truth sometimes a time trial will come down to like a few seconds, right? 4 seconds, 5 seconds over 40K.
The Giro was like 0.2 seconds. Or
yeah, but whatever. 0.2 seconds. Yeah. Like that could entirely be accounted for because of wind differences between one rider's time that they were riding and the other rider's time that they were riding.
It's so clear. Even an even more dramatic example of that is when it starts raining halfway through the time trial, and you're like, you're like, and it wreaks havoc for the second half. Like Dygert crashing at the Olympics. Like maybe had she gone earlier or later, she wouldn't have hit that patch of rain, and the results would have been completely different. She might have won.
Do they, for the, I can't remember, for the staging for time trials, do they do it in order of GC, or is it in team GC?
It's GC, and then if it's the first stage, it's like by team, and you get to pick which rider goes at which time, like your first rider, but then they spread out the team so that you can have like one car doing laps.
Right. So the first stage, I guess, is sort of arbitrary, but the other stages, at least your second in GC and your first in GC are going to be going back to back. So that kind of minimizes what the variation in conditions might be. But it's still, like you're saying, Dylan, I mean, 30 seconds, if there's a super high wind gust for 30 seconds out there and one guy misses it.
I'm not even talking about a high wind gust.
I know.
Sometimes time trials are decided by like really small margins. Like we're talking about seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. 1 second over 40K. We're talking about like,
who's doing a 40K time trial?
Whatever. Pick your distance. It doesn't even matter what the distance is, dude.
Who's doing time trials? Come on. Who's even doing time trials?
Pick your distance. Like a minute, imperceivable difference in wind change during one person's run versus another person's run. That's the difference between winning and losing right there.
Dylan, would you ever participate in the gravel national TT championships?
Is that a thing?
Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure like in the unofficial gravel national championships, there's a time trial.
Is there an unofficial gravel national championships?
Yeah, there has been for a while.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I've never even done the unofficial gravel.
Okay, but I'm saying like if there was an official gravel TT national championship, I feel like that would be like your favorite event of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in a different life where I don't know, grew up in the UK instead of in the US, I could have been super into TTs.
Why don't you just do it now? Do time trial nationals.
Yeah,
next week.
It's next week.
Yeah, that's
perfect. That works perfect with your.
I'll be tapered for
it. You will.
Yeah. Yeah. Show up on your gravel bike. See what happens.
Could I do that? Could I like just sign up for the TT and that's it?
You might have to like. I don't know what the rules are. You gotta. I couldn't tell you.
Alexi did it. So
yeah, I think you have to be on like a.
You have to have some kind of
team.
Like qualification, Like last year when I did it solo, I had to email them and just say, hey, I got top whatever at this race in this year. Does this qualify me to get in? And they let me in. But like, I think you have to have some kind of.
I think you'd have to send some emails.
Yeah.
But
could you just tell them you got top 10 at Unbound last year and see?
That might work. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's a sum of money that's not very big that you could pay somebody to get you.
They probably don't care about the time trial either, though, because the time trial, you're not at risk of injuring
the time trial, like the only person you're going to hurt is yourself, right?
Yeah. I think that's why they're.
So as long as you're buying the insurance, then they don't really care, right?
Yeah.
I think you have to buy the insurance. Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Do you think is that Farmsworth guy going to be there or Farm Watts guy?
That's Drew makes enemies every episode. That's the only enemy that I've made is the Farm Watts.
I don't make enemies every episode. I make friends every episode.
Wait, why are you an enemy with Farm Watts?
Off of enmity.
Because I don't know, like one episode I didn't believe his power numbers or something because they are unbelievably high. And I don't know, he got pissed about that. And now he tags me all the time on Instagram when he does like 500 watts for 20 minutes.
I mean,
do you still not believe it?
His power numbers are unbelievably high until you look at someone like Matt Beers.
Yeah, but Matt Beers makes more sense because Matt Beers actually does well at bike races.
Yeah, but I think you underestimate like the skills that people have, like that translate into results. Like this Farm Watts guy must have no skills.
You know this Farm Watts guy.
I've met him like once. I don't know him. I've never ridden with him. I don't know what he's like.
Okay, all right.
I've seen him ride a trainer in a room, and he had to bring massive dumbbells to hold the trainer down.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
For his like 5-minute power test, probably too.
No, they were doing like a race, like a e-race. Live. It was kind of cool, actually.
I mean,
it was like the most exciting e-race I've ever seen, like by far. It was actually kind of exciting. It was more exciting than gravel, that's for sure. It was only 40 minutes long. People were watching, eating donuts, drinking coffee. It was cool.
Sounds kind of like a bowling match or something.
Yeah, sounds fun.
They used to do that the day before crits. If you wanted to call up, they would do like a on the stage the night before. They'd have one rider from each team go up on the stage and do like an e-race, and they'd try to get a crowd to come and watch and everything. But it was up on a stage with the announcers and everything. I always thought that was.
Did you do
cool.
it?
I was never the strongest guy on any team I've been on, especially not when it comes to e-racing. You probably just pick the biggest guy on your team.
Don't they
Doesn't your weight account get accounted for?
Yeah,
watts per
but
kilo?
even with that, it still favors big riders, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
If they're taking into account weight, I don't know about that.
Have you guys ever done an e-race?
No.
Yeah, then shut up.
No, they're but like going up.
I'm pretty sure weight. I know they take it into consideration, but I'm saying somehow it still favors bigger riders. In my experience,
have you ever done an e-race?
Yeah, we used to have to do them in college. We used to do old school like CompuTrainer races, and I was always the worst one.
Did they take into account weight on a CompuTrainer?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I've done CompuTrainer races, but I was thinking you were talking about like Zwift.
Basically the same thing, yeah. Just a little bit better graphics.
That's the thing, but that's the thing about like on Zwift, everybody lying about their weight. You know, everybody's at 6 watts per kilo.
Dude,
on
this
Zwift.
guy,
Did they do weigh-ins for that one?
There's like a whole, well, like for this one specifically, I don't know if they weighed them when they like were at the facility or if beforehand, but you'd have to
weigh yourself as soon as before you get on the bike.
You have to weigh yourself like within 90 minutes. And then you have to hold a certain poundage weight and weigh yourself again and like show that you're holding a weight to like make sure your scale is good. And then you also have to do a power test before the race series starts, and then they compare your power, like, and if it's off a certain percentage, they like flag you, and then they like investigate your equipment and stuff. It's like some pretty serious.
Wait, so was this when you were watching it? It wasn't live. There wasn't a bunch of people in the same room.
No, this was live, but this was like part of like
they didn't all have the same trainers
series this time. No, like Farm Watts brought his own trainer.
Probably because it's
rigged.
It's rigged
totally
for sure.
Rigged.
Well, I don't know.
Guys, if you say it's rigged, he's gonna tag.
I don't think we had enough there. We had like 10 guys.
Let's say rigged a couple
race.
more times. I'm wearing a rigged shirt right now. Rigged supply.
Dude, I heard someone talking about rigged.
They make
on
the
a podcast recently.
They make the Indestructor rack. If you want a bike rack that will never break, go buy.
If they want somebody to test it.
A rigged ramble rack.
I'll do it.
This should be a good test, Scott. What's going to break first, the Honda Pilot or the rigged rack?
The Pilot.
You think I drive a Pilot?
What do you have? I thought you had a
Odyssey.
Oh, that's what
Odyssey,
I meant. I meant the Odyssey. The Pilot wouldn't break. The Odyssey.
Yeah, the Odyssey's pretty durable. That's be a good combo though. The Honda Odyssey with the rigged bike rack. That's the setup I got, and that's a winning combo right there. Then
what do you have? You've got a van too?
Yeah, I got the Honda Odyssey, dude.
Oh man,
dude,
I'm getting the Chrysler Pacifica soon.
That one's also good. That's what we rent when we go to races. We always get a Pacifica.
Yeah.
For some reason, I guess because of the name brand of the Honda Odyssey, but the Pacifica was always way less expensive than the Honda Odysseys.
Dude, we're gonna be the Minivan Bros podcast pretty soon.
Yeah,
All
dude,
four of us are gonna have minivans.
Yeah, minivans are sweet.
Dude, I gotta figure something out because I can't. When my driveway has like a curb, like one of those rounded curbs to get into it. Every time I'm putting my boat in the driveway, just crunching into the sidewalk straight, like the hitch is just grinding into the sidewalk. Until
You
I
can
can
buy
get
these like rubber fill-ins or something that fill in the gap, I think. I've seen
They make
them.
lift kits
On
for
the
the
street?
for the Siennas. I don't know about
or
the
just get
Odyssey,
a lift
though.
kit for
Dude,
your
I
van.
just poured gravel in my driveway. There was like a massive ditch, and I just every single
You
time.
did, or you had somebody do it?
No, I went to freaking Lowe's.
Wow.
And I bought a
You
bag
would, you
of
would
gravel.
go to Lowe's. You
Yeah.
would go to Lowe's.
Well, Lowe's is what we have here in Brevard. We don't have a Home Depot or whatever, Menards.
of course,
or whatever.
Brevard has a Lowe's. All right, continue.
What? Why do you hate Lowe's?
Lowe's
What's
is
wrong
like
with
Lowe's is kind of bougie.
bougie.
It's for people who like don't give a rip about money. They're like,
What are you
I got all
talking
the
about?
money.
I think
It's
it's
kinda
almost
like-
exactly the same as Home Depot. It just has a bad.
It's kind of like
rep.
Costco versus Sam's Club.
How
Like
is Lowe's bougie? Everybody in there is wearing a wife beater.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like Costco's kind of bougie compared to Sam's Club, but
What?
Sam's Club's also dope. And neither of them are really bougie.
and they're both
just-
almost exactly
yeah.
the same thing.
And they're both exact. They sell the same
Neither
products.
one of those are bougie, dude. Bougie is
Exactly.
like Whole Foods or something.
Well, yeah.
I don't even know. Does a bougie hardware store even exist?
Ace hardware store.
No,
I don't know.
Ace is like
No,
the
Ace
small
is
town.
even, yeah.
They just don't have like. I don't know why you would go to an Ace though. They don't have everything.
You go to an Ace if
And-
you can't go to a Lowe's or a Home Depot
Yeah.
or a Menards.
Or you don't want
Yeah,
to
I
drive.
guess.
The only reason I go to our local hardware store is if it's something it's really small and I don't want to drive all the way to Menards for that really small thing. And I always pay twice as much at the local.
Dude,
hardware store.
actually, I got my lawnmower from Ace.
The one
that never dies.
the one
dude.
that you can start in one pull even after 8 years of being in the rain.
Yes, exactly that one. Yep. Great
My
purchase.
local hardware store has some things that you can rent, like dingoes and little tractors and stuff. And I live so close to it that I wouldn't even need a trailer. I could probably just drive it to my house and make mountain bike trails in my backyard and then just drive it back to the hardware store on the
All right,
sidewalk.
Scott, you can get a 2-inch lift on the Honda Odyssey. What year is yours?
Well, so here's the thing. It's a 2010. It's got like 210,000 miles.
I'll send
I
this one
just
to you.
don't know if it's going to be like as soon as I do any modifications, it's going to blow up. I know.
Oh, you can get a 3-inch, but that's
Isn't
cost
it
$1,500.
like- Isn't that a pretty involved process
No, you could do it at home.
for real?
No, if you just put like
Like a
it's
spacer
basically
kit.
like a spacer in there, it's not like you're not changing the suspension. Not that I know anything about this, but
Wouldn't you lose?
No, that's exactly
you'd
what
lose
it is.
miles per gallon because then you wouldn't be as aerodynamic.
Yeah, but it's also a 2010, so it's like probably got shitty gas mileage anyways.
No way, dude.
No, it
Don't
doesn't.
Actually,
say
it might
that.
not. It might not. I feel like gas mileage has gotten worse since 2010. Here, I just sent it to you. $400.
did you send it in the chat of this?
I'd rather just buy some
Yeah.
rubber.
Okay, well, that's
things
gonna
and put them in the curb.
Why is it going to disappear?
You think I come on here to like look for my links that people send me?
No, you click on it right now, and then it'll stay in your tab after we get off of this.
All right, should we move on to listener questions or something?
No. No.
Sure.
Didn't the Giro start?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
No.
Can you tell us something about it?
No, my video, I was on YouTube and my video came up and the Giro highlights came up and I clicked on my video.
You watched your own video?
No. I mean, I watch it before I publish it to make sure it's not jacked up, but I don't watch it. I've already
Well, you
watched it
didn't-
at that point.
Do a very good job of making sure it was jacked up. It was all jacked up, dude.
Yeah, because you were in it.
Dude, there was there was one
Fired
point
right back
where
at ya.
there was one point where you tested different wheels with different tires as if that's a
matter.
valid test. So
Doesn't really matter.
What was that? All right.
My phone.
I know, obviously, dude. You never put that thing down. Dude,
Did a
you
lot
are
of
seriously
people-
like the fastest text responder ever.
Me?
Yeah, dude. Like I'll
He's
text
good.
you and
Email,
like
like the
rest of the
before
world.
I even hit
Everyone's on their
send,
phone.
you
responds.
respond.
Yeah, he responds to email.
If
quick,
someone
too.
doesn't respond quickly, that means they're just ignoring you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Or they're busy
or
and they
they're
have to wait to
ignoring
respond until
or
they,
they're ignoring everybody,
Well,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
which is
but
what
that
I do when I'm
includes you.
like, yeah.
yeah. All right.
Or they're on a 7
Um,
hour bike ride. I don't respond to text while I ride.
Yeah, that means
I
you're
do.
ignoring everybody. I love putting my phone on Do Not Disturb.
All right. All right. So apparently like 100 people messaged in asking what tires people should run at Unbound for dry versus wet conditions. It's like a
And there
hot
are people
topic right now.
already. I was
Why
like,
do they think that we know the answer to
Unbound
this?
is still like
we have
3
no
weeks,
idea about tires.
3 weeks away, and there's already like so many videos with Unbound in the title. Like Ben Delaney already dropped a video. Alexi's already dropped a video. I'm like, dang, I was gonna drop a video, like an Unbound prep video, and I was thinking, man, I'm gonna be ahead of the curve. I'm gonna put an Unbound video out before Unbound. And I'm like, dang, these people are way ahead of the curve. Like they're getting it done a month before.
Yeah, Grace texted me this morning. Grace is the person that runs the.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to say that, but apparently you just put it out there.
Oh, should we not say that?
Oh, she doesn't care. She loves it when we talk.
Why does
about
it
her.
matter?
I don't know, because now people are going to send her all the hate mail.
Want me to tell her what you guys want her last name too?
No, we don't need to give her last name.
Grace is the one that runs the Instagram account. And she was like, you have to talk about what tires to run for Unbound. So, I don't know. Next topic?
Like the next one, Pat, like we're done talking about Unbound tires. So now let's
Yeah.
talk about the next one.
Yeah, next
Why?
question.
Because do you have a secret tire that you just don't want to tell people about?
No, I just feel like if you're a real fan of this podcast, like the answer should be obvious. And I don't think that we need to reiterate what tire.
Well, yeah, but what about a wet condition?
Yeah, I think that's what.
All right. You got good points, Adam. Let's talk about wet conditions.
Should we look up the weather and see if it's
If
even going to be wet
you
there?
were a
Actually,
fan of
let's
this
start
podcast,
with what tire did you run when it was wet 2 years ago?
Pathfinder 47.
Good or bad?
Well, at the time I was on Factor and there was like very limited clearance, so it was pretty bad. I think it'd be better now with the felt because there's more clearance.
Yeah. Chase said the only reason he made the front group that year was because the Lauf has so much tire clearance that he was able to run. Like he just had more clearance than everybody else. So his bike didn't get clogged up as much.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that it's not muddy. I kind of want it to be super hot and dry.
It looks like right now it's probably going to be pretty hot and dry.
But you're not in Texas.
It's a month
You're not
out.
going to be as heat acclimated, are you?
Yeah, the thing about hot is that so many people just like crack in the second half if it's hot.
And you're just so much tougher than them.
Well, I mean, what can I say?
You've been doing a heat protocol, heat training. What's your
Yeah,
protocol? Or are you not going to spill the beans?
I haven't been using it as much as I should, but I do have that Amazon sauna.
Is that it?
Sauna sack.
I've been hitting my sauna 5 days a week.
No hot baths?
Also, when you ride a bike for 7 hours when it's 80 degrees, I think you're good.
Did you wear leg
No,
warmers
you're
and a
not good.
jacket on that ride?
I wear leg warmers and a jacket all the time.
In 80 degrees?
No.
I did this weekend.
It sounds like you're going to crack if it's hot, Dylan.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I think you're.
If it's
fancy.
hot, I'm good to go. That's what I want. I want it to be super hot and dry.
Dylan, have you tested that
Pride
Core
comes
2
before the
sensor
fall.
that Bike Tires Direct sent us?
I did.
Did I receive one? I don't
No, he
remember
didn't get
receiving one.
We only got two.
I didn't get
I got
one.
one and
I didn't know, Drew, you got one.
Yeah,
I thought Dylan
called
was
dibs
getting it.
on it.
Oh,
because I wanted
nice.
one before I even knew we got some. Dude,
I would use that.
Dude, you guys are on these emails. You can respond and say,
I
I want
responded
one.
quicker.
No, I didn't get this email.
You should have. Yeah, well, then you ignored it.
No,
I
didn't
definitely
ignore
didn't
it.
get this email either.
Well, I don't know. I was on the call or the email, and I got one.
I'm pretty sure everyone was on the email.
I also did not get the email.
Yeah, I've been using it. It just showed up.
You can buy your own now.
It just showed. Yeah, and you can order it from the feed for free, Dylan. So you don't need to take ours away from us.
I think Drew, I think that's actually what I remember it now. I think that was your justification.
Yeah.
You're like, how about I take this one because Dylan can get it for free from the feed.
Yeah. If he really wanted one, he could have had one months ago via the feed.
He's like, got him. So have you been using it, Drew?
Yeah, it just showed up last week, but I've used it as soon as it started showing up.
What's your initial thoughts?
It's nice. It's like I like that it's not like Whoop in that if there's not a monthly fee. So you buy the thing and then it is a separate app. So like there's an app called Core, and when you start riding, you just like I tap it to make sure it's on, but then it auto starts recording the data and it syncs up with your heart rate. It says it's really important for it to sync up with your heart rate. So you connect it to your heart rate strap through the app. But then once it's all connected, as soon as you start riding, it starts recording data. And then it takes a little bit after your ride for it to like download the data. But then you can see it breaks your ride up into like how much time you spent in each heat zone. And there's 4 zones. 1 is like nothing. 4 is like you're overheating. So 2 and 3 is kind of like where the most of the adaptations happen. And I've yet to even hit the 3rd zone yet. I've only been.
That's what I was going to ask. Because I've been using it the last week or so too, because mine came in last week, and it's been over 90 degrees every day here for the last week, and I have yet to hit zone 3.
Yeah, I did a 7-hour
which seems
ride
whack because it was very hot.
Yeah, I did like a 7 or 8 hour ride that was like in the 70s, like the high 70s by the end of the ride. But I also had leg warmers and 3 layers on. So like, I thought like, oh, I'm going to get all kinds of heat training. And then the app was like, no, you were only in zone 1 and zone 2 the whole time. I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. And it says to not wear it in the sauna.
I know.
And I was like, I really wanted to wear it once just to see the data once, but I don't want to fry the thing either. But you can.
Well, no, I don't think it's because this. I think it'll throw off the data because it's algorithmically driven. So if your heart rate is not, your heart rate's going to be accurate, but your body temperature is going to rise relative to a low heart rate in a way that it doesn't during exercise. So it's going to throw off your algorithm for how it's deriving your, because it's not actually measuring your core temperature, it's measuring your skin temperature, and then it's using calculations to derive what your core temperature estimate is
based off the heart rate.
Yeah. So if your heart rate's really low, but your body your skin temperature is really high, it's going to skew the data.
Okay. I thought it was because it would just fry the thing. That makes more sense though. There is a way that you can input the days that you do the sauna, and I've been doing that and it asks you how long were you in there, what was the temperature, what was the humidity. Okay,
I haven't been doing that, I guess.
Yeah. And every time I do that, it bumps up my heat. What's it call it? Like my adaptation higher. Because like right now I'm only at like what's it say? Like I'm only like 20% adapted, but I'd only be like 10% adapted if it weren't for the sauna or something. And it's because I've only been using it for a week, I think.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I've been trying to display it on my head unit too, just to, I don't know, get a sense for what my core temperature is while I'm riding and see if it's changing. And I don't know, like right now it's not really correlating to my RPE very well. And maybe it's because I'm just not as heat adapted as I think I am. But like I feel super hot and it's not really showing my core temperature rising at the same rate or at all. So to me, I just haven't found it to be super useful on the bike, like in the moment yet, but I'm hoping that maybe it just needs more data. Like I'm going to give it a month before I really give a real review of it.
Yeah,
But
I was hoping that the newer one would connect to your head unit and you could see.
it does. I have it on my head unit.
You have a Wahoo?
No, Garmin.
Oh, what? How?
You connect it through Garmin Connect IQ.
Yeah.
You have to add it as like
as an app.
it's an add-on. Yeah, and then it'll give its own screen, and you can add it to the different data fields.
Okay, I was
Like,
just
I've been displaying it.
I just went into all the data that was in my Garmin and was like trying to find core temperature or something.
No. You have to
add on.
Yeah, do it through Connect IQ.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I've been displaying it on my interval screen to see like what happens to my core temperature during intervals, and it's really not much so far. So I don't know if it just needs more data. But it pretty much shows my core temperature is 100.5 like at all times. Let's see what other listener questions we got.
What was the point of that? You were just trying to.
I like how we didn't answer the unbound tire question.
Yeah, I don't even know where that came. All right, so what's the mud tire?
Okay, so just to recap, if you don't know what the dry tire is by now, you're not a real fan and you don't deserve the answer.
All right, but what if they can't get the real dry tire anymore?
No, you mean because it's like they discontinued it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the name of it because if you don't know what I'm talking about,
I know,
you're not
but
a real fan and you don't deserve the answer.
But would you recommend the successor, or would you just try and find the OG, or like run a really worn out OG?
You can find the OG right now.
Can you?
At Bicycle Tires, or at Bicycle Station. You can order them at Bicycle Station. They've got them stocked up.
Okay.
Use code Dizzle10 so that I can get 10%
I guess
of
they
that commission.
I guess they do still have them at Bike Tires Direct too. You just have to get the amber sidewall, which is fine.
So here's the thing about mud tire is that the size is going to depend on how much clearance your frame has, because it needs to be pretty significantly less than what your max clearance is on your frame. So, is it 40, 45, 50, whatever? It'll just depend on what your clearance is.
So let's just go off of your bike. So your go-to dry tire is a 55 millimeter. What's going to be your go-to mud tire?
Probably 45. If it's really muddy, maybe 40.
Really?
Well, if it's really freaking muddy, the only thing that matters is getting through the mud. So
yeah,
honestly, if I've got a 38, I'd put 38 on.
So in which tire would you run the Pathfinder?
I got a Pathfinder 38.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you even, like, in your mind, imagine having to ride 200 miles of gravel on a 38 millimeter tire?
Yeah, it would be. I would hate it. The other thing about a 38,
more aero,
because like probably the whole thing won't be muddy, is that you're probably going to get a flat if you run a 38 at Unbound, which is unfortunate. But it's already going to be kind of a shit show of a day if it's that muddy that I need to run a 38.
So
fill the tire with sealant. How much sealant do you put in?
When you fill the tire with sealant, though, this needs to be tested, but I think it's like sapping significant amounts of watts, and not just because it's heavier, but because like the sealant has to run downhill in your tire.
It's opposing the direction of your tire. So is your go-to mud tire just some variation in size of the Pathfinder?
Yeah, probably. And depending on how muddy it is, I'll go smaller or bigger.
Because I think a lot of people, like, since like the King has become like the only tire we ever recommend, I think a lot of people have assumed that the Pathfinder is completely dead to you.
I haven't run the Pathfinder since I've started running the King, so.
But it hasn't been muddy since then.
That's true. Yeah.
Also because you're cultish. And your love for the
All right, so there you have it. Okay, Dale here says, so I plan on doing Eastern Divide Trail and probably will change my tires 3 times due to preventative wear on my Salsa Cutthroat. Any suggestions to which tires I should use depending on the sections, e.g. Florida, like the Florida Divide, which is very sandy. What's up?
He needs to, okay. He needs to change tires 3 times over the course of this ride.
It's the Eastern Divide
the
Trail.
Eastern
It's probably
Divide,
like
if he
3,000
means like
miles.
the Continental Divide.
Holy shit.
Then that's
6,000 miles.
Yeah. It's a long ride.
6,000. I thought I've never even heard of this.
So I mean, I'm not a long distance bike pack racer, but people do now. The Continental Divide is only what, 2,000 or 3,000 or something.
The Continental Divide is like 2,700 miles.
People easily do that on one pair of tires.
Okay, but this is twice as long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy wants to change his tires. I don't see why it's that big of a deal that he's changing his tires.
I feel like the Appalachians might be a little bit harsher on your tires.
Yeah, they will. It's probably going to be like more rock gardens and stuff.
Dude, this thing goes all the way from the Florida Keys, like Key West, all the way through, I'll just read it. Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It dips into Tennessee, Virginia, whatever that state is. I think that's Maryland.
Yeah, whatever that state is.
Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and then it gets into New Brunswick, and then it ends. What freaking island is that? Some island in Canada.
So basically, it goes from the bottom of Florida to the top of Canada.
Yeah, dude, this thing is gnarly.
Okay. I'm sure this guy's done more research on this than we have, obviously, because this is the first time I've ever even heard of this. So maybe you do need 3 tires for this.
He wasn't asking us about how many sets of tires.
He knows how many tires.
He's going to change.
Dude, this thing is only rated a 7 out of 10 on the difficulty. How is this only a 7 out of 10? This seems like it should be 11 out of 10.
Well, anyway, what's his question?
He wants to know which tires we would recommend for the ride, including if there's a tire that we would recommend for the sandy sections.
I mean, I don't know anything about this route. Is it gravel? Is it mountain bike? Is it road?
Yeah, it's 68% unpaved. So gravel, double track. It says it's only 3% single track.
Oh, okay.
But that still means, so that means it's probably 30% or 32% paved.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the King is a good option because I feel like you want a tire that's very rugged. Not that the King's not, like, the King can handle a lot, but I don't know if it can handle that. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty durable tire.
No, I think it is durable, but we're talking about 6,000 miles. Like, I would just pick a tire that's going to have no issues whatsoever.
I mean, I've got a pair of Kings that have close to 6,000 miles that I've never flatted, and I'm still running them.
How worn out are they?
70%. Like, I almost feel like I could just run one set of Kings for the whole thing.
This is what I was getting at the beginning of the question. Look, if you want to bring more tires and switch them out, or I don't know, if you're buying tires at bike shops along the way and switching them out, I don't know how he's doing this, but I think you could get through the whole thing on one pair of tires.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, Dale, like, you talk about changing your tires 3 times, so that means 4 sets of tires, and he says due to preventative wear, but dude, the reason that you do preventative wear is like, so convenience, like something doesn't happen, but like you still have to stop to change your tires. So like, why wouldn't you just wait until your tires are worn out and then change them?
That's true.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Well, maybe he's like,
I'll bet you
these guys, don't they like mail themselves stuff in the future?
That's true. Yeah.
So maybe he's
like he's not going to bring 3 tires
stops.
with him.
Like he's got like packages along the way with like other stuff.
I think
maybe. You could be right.
This may not be the smartest thing to do, but I'll bet you could get through the entire ride, all 6,000 miles on one pair of Kings.
Now the caveat is he's probably got a 60-pound bike too, right? Because he's bike packing.
Okay, maybe he's not also trying to do it as fast as possible. You got to think that, Dylan.
Yeah, I feel like he should get the dubs, but with the trail version.
And would you do a 2.2 or a 2.4? So it's a salsa cutthroat. So it's a mountain bike, like mountain bike clearance.
So he could do 2.4.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to know more about this terrain.
It's only 3% single track. That's the part that's kind of getting me. So like, I feel like the 2.2s would be fine.
2.2, especially if it's like 35% road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 2.2. 2.2 dub trail. Final answer.
All right. I like it. Antimatter Death Ray says, screw going to the wind tunnel. That's played out. We need to get Dylan and other Bonk Bros, if you want, out to Alabama to meet up with that guy, John, who's doing all the outdoor gravel and mountain bike. Oh, we already talked about this guy. Those two can make a legit tire testing YouTube video. Any chance of that ever happening?
No.
Are you over it? Are you done with your tire testing?
Alabama to tire test. I barely drove 20 minutes to do it.
Well, maybe, I mean, I don't know if John in Alabama has like a bunch of like rigs and stuff that he does for his testing, but maybe we can just all meet up somewhere else.
If I'm not going to do it, I can guarantee you Dylan ain't going to do it. Dylan doesn't do anything unless it falls in line with the Lifetime series calendar.
Dude, Alabama's like almost on the way to Unbound. Just stop there along the way.
Dylan, you want to do this?
Maybe.
Let me put the ball in your court.
I mean, I would much rather test tires with John than with you.
Oh, dang.
Not because I'm better friends with John. I've never even met John in real life, you know? But just because,
think how much more fun we'd have together.
I think that if I was trying to test tires with you, like,
what if this guy's a weirdo?
It would just do my head in, man. Like I couldn't handle all your dumb ideas coming at me at one time. You know?
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. You'd
be like, oh, come on, dude. It's not that big a deal if we test one pair of tires with this $4,000 wheel set and the other pair of tires with this $200 wheel set that's got like bearings that are seizing. And I'd be like, yeah, totally, man.
That's not even fun. What happened. You're blowing it out of proportion.
Okay.
You guys are dying
I don't
to
know
what my wheel test
I mean,
did.
I don't know. Like, I don't know who John is. Maybe if he's a cool dude, and maybe we can have him on the show or something sometime.
Yeah, we should probably have John on the show.
Yeah, we should probably have Keegan and all these other people on too. But you guys are lame and don't invite anybody on.
We actually haven't had a guest in a long time.
I say we should have more guests, and Dylan says people don't listen to the podcast to listen to guests. They want to hear us.
The only guest that we've ever had on the show that actually like gave us a bump in listenership was VC Adventure Time.
We're not having that guy on. No.
Why?
Well, the thing that was hilarious.
Time he wants. I would love to talk with him some more. We're buddies.
Drew made me sound like a dick there, but the reason why I don't necessarily like guests is because I don't have to make you sound like that.
Well,
you can make me sound any way.
All right, Dylan, what are you saying?
Sorry.
The reason why I don't usually like guests is because I feel like the podcast just turns into an interview, and there's so many interview podcasts. Every podcast is an interview.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm just over it. I'm like, no, dude, like you need to be part of the gang. You need to be part of the gang, and we need a vibe.
That's why
we're not going to be.
We've had some fun times with Carrie and even Tobin. Like they both just like slot right in, just have a fun conversation.
Chad Haga, that was a dud. He thought we were interviewing him for sure.
Well, the thing is, like, so Chad Haga doesn't listen to this podcast. And when you come onto a podcast, it's an interview podcast, and you think what's going to happen is I'm going to be interviewed. I'll just answer the questions. You don't realize that that's not the vibe of this podcast. It's not an interview. We're going to talk about things that have nothing to do with you if you come on this podcast. And we're going to want your opinion, but also it's not going to have anything to do with you. So.
But it's going to have everything to do with Dylan, so be prepared. We should have our guests interview Dylan when they come on. That's what it'll be. It'll just be about Dylan.
Okay, next question. This is from Calvin. Calvin says, in an attempt to revive the spirit of gravel, what's your opinion on regulating a mandatory amount of time in the feed zone, maybe via timing chips? Just enough time to pee and get back on the bike and grab some food. 30 to 45 seconds, something like that. Didn't one race try to do this
Gravel
a while
Worlds, I
back?
think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it Gravel Worlds?
It wasn't
Gravel
Gravel
Locos. Gravel Locos tried to do at a minimum minute stop at the feed zone.
Is that still a thing? This Gravel Locos?
Yeah, Gravel Locos still.
So you're not doing that?
It's probably this weekend, isn't it?
No, it's the week before Unbound. It's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Or like
They should have done it this weekend.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it's a good idea in theory, but in practice, especially at a race like Unbound, where we're talking about there's going to be like the front group in the first feed zone is going to be 80, 100 riders. It's going to be crazy. It's like, how do you regulate that? I guess he's talking about timing chips or something. But
even that's hard.
You know how in road, it's just like understood that if it's a feed zone, you don't attack.
It's not a thing anymore, though.
It's not a thing
anymore.
Nobody
does that.
So
There's
people
no
attack in the
feed
feed zone?
I mean, there are feed zones, but like it's not like guys are grabbing like musettes all the time and eating like lunch out there. Like it's like you just go to the car, or I don't know. They're changing the rules now where you can't. Like last year, it was like you would have bottle points every 20K or something. So you were just getting it constantly, but now they're like trying to change that. I don't know what the status is, but
I mean, I guess
guys attacking the feed zone all the time.
Okay. All right. So I guess I see like both sides of the argument. Like, hey, how come we can't all just be nice in the feed zone? But also
nice.
Nice. Like, don't drop people in the feed zone. Don't be a dick in the feed zone.
Wow. And then all it took was one guy screwing that up.
Yeah.
Adam.
Exactly. Roberge.
Seems like there was a lot of crashes at
and I mean,
in the feed zone too.
Yeah.
Cole, Patton, right? Really, and Payson.
Yeah, and Sea Otter has more feed zones than normal. They had 3 feed zones per lap, and there was 3 laps. So, I mean, that's like 9 feed zones throughout the race. Like,
that's a lot.
So that kind of goes with what you're saying, Scott. Like, the more feed zones that you have, the more issues that arise.
Well, not necessarily the more issues, just like the less respect of the feed zone it gets, because
the more chaotic
you can't
gets,
not attack on 9 points of the course.
Yeah, right, exactly. Then that's like a huge part
you
of the
can't
race,
slow down 9 times.
Yeah.
So like I on one hand, it's like, hey, how come we can't just be nice in the feed zone and the race isn't determined by feed zones, which is kind of a lame way to determine a race. There's that argument. And then there's the other argument, which is like the F1 argument. The F1 argument is like, in F1, the pit stop is part of the race. That is part of the tactic of the race. And being fast in the pit stop matters. And you could make the same argument for gravel racing. Like, being fast in and out of the feed zone matters. And if you lose the race because you were slow in the feed zone, that's on you, buddy. So
they love comparing gravel to F1, even though they couldn't be farther from each
other. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of like triathlon mandating that everyone has a 5-minute transition.
Yeah, doing fast transition is part of triathlon. That's great.
They did have that minimum or maximum speed in that one triathlon. I forget which one it was, but
maximum
Cam Work got disqualified.
Maximum was like a safety thing, though. That's not
there was like some
thing.
Section of the course that you couldn't go over like 25 miles an hour, and he went over 25 miles an hour and got disqualified.
Wow, I didn't know about that. Was it like through a town or something? Like a school zone?
Like a neighborhood or something.
School zone.
Or it was like a downhill where somebody had crashed before, so they like put a maximum speed.
Interesting.
There shouldn't be. design the course different. There shouldn't be a maximum speed in any race whatsoever.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Any form
agree.
of racing, whether it's on a bike, on foot, on a car, on a motorcycle, in a spaceship, there's not a maximum speed.
Yeah, but
Dude,
there's an Olympic
Even speed walking.
in the Olympics.
I know, but even speed walking doesn't have a speed limit. It just has rules that both feet have to be, but you have to have 1 foot on the ground at all times.
That is whack. That sport is so weird.
If there's a starting line and a finishing line, and you have to get from one to the other as fast as possible, you don't put a maximum speed in the middle.
I wonder if the speed walkers, those are the bottom sniffers of marathon runners. They're the people who couldn't make it as a marathon runner, so they're like, I'm going to be a marathon walker.
I wonder
Phil Guyman,
what their heart rate.
Phil
What was their
Guyman
heart rate get to?
he should be a marathon walker. That's right up his alley.
What do you think their heart rate gets to in speed walking? Do you think it ever gets above zone 2?
I'm sure because of cardiac drift, because they're out there for so long, it gets up there.
How long are they out there? I've never watched
if it takes a pro just over 2 hours to run a marathon, but they're not allowed to run. It's got to take like at least.
They're not doing a marathon,
3.
are they?
Yeah, I think it's a marathon, isn't it?
Oh, wow, I didn't know. I don't know. I mean, I've just
maybe
seen
they have different
clips of it.
distances, but I always assumed it was a marathon.
I think there's all different distances for.
That's even
speed
worse.
walking.
We got different distances of speed walkers.
20K.
Oh, 20K.
The mixed relay is 26.2 miles.
If you're going to go
marathon.
slower, make them go even further. Like make them do a double marathon. Like they're not even running.
Who's going to watch that?
Why would you make it? That's like, let's have a 100-meter speed walking competition. What's the point of that?
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would be hilarious. But I feel like if you're not going to run, the point would be endurance. And so make it as long as possible. If you are going to put a limit on that.
This might be a hot take, but I feel like you have to have way more coordination to speed walk 100 meters than to sprint 100 meters.
True.
Yeah, probably.
True.
Probably.
Also, I mean, you could say like, what's the point of any sport?
Also true.
You know, what's the
to
point
see
of
who's the fastest?
Yeah, but
Especially
you're saying who's the
gravel.
fastest walker? You know,
You're like, let's see who's the fastest at being slower. Like that doesn't make, you know what I mean? Like that's just seems kind of funny.
I'm kind of surprised. I mean, since speed walking is a thing, I'm kind of surprised there isn't like backwards running.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like swimming, right? Swimming is like, here's the backstroke. Here's the.
Yeah, we're gonna do a jazz step marathon. Who can do the fastest
swimming's like
jazz step marathon?
You know, they race the backstroke, even though that's not the most efficient stroke. I mean, it's kind of like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Like technically when they do the freestyle, freestyle is open. You can use whatever stroke you want. Yeah. So in theory, if someone is faster at breaststroke than they are at, traditional freestyle stroke, they could do that.
Right, but they don't.
But they don't because it's not fastest.
Yeah.
Do they all, in freestyle? Do they all use the same method?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the fastest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, every other stroke is slower.
It'd be like calling a running race a freestyle running race. You can run however you want. If you want to walk, you can walk. But if you want to run, you can run.
Yeah. Or run backwards.
Or run backwards or run on your hands. You can do whatever you want.
100 meters. Man, that would be hilarious.
I remember, I think it was in high school or maybe in college, there were some swimmers that individually they were faster at the breaststroke than they were at the traditional freestyle stroke, so they would use that, but they weren't going to be the fastest in the pool. Like that was just the best chance that they had. Yeah.
Did you
that's why cyclocross exists. Cyclocross is for all the people who aren't fast enough to do road. It's like a slower category.
I think MVDP would beg to differ.
Yeah, maybe. That was always my reason for doing cross. I'm not good enough to do road or mountain bike, so I'm going to do cyclocross. Smaller competition field. People love to tell me all the time, like, "Oh, but you were such a good cross racer," and I'm like, "Yeah, because it's 10% competitive compared to road and mountain bike. That's why."
I would assume that speed walking is similar in that it's less competitive, but I honestly have no idea.
Nobody grows up and says, "You know, I want to be a gold medal speed walker." everybody grows up saying, I want to be a gold medal hurdler or 100-meter or marathon runner. So they have to be the people that just didn't make the cut. They had to. They have to be.
People grow up wanting to be all kinds of weird things.
I
man.
guess so.
You know, some people grow up and want to be.
I knew as soon as I said that
some people grow up and want to be like a gold medal curler. You know.
Yeah, they're probably from Canada.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely people right now being like, who would grow up thinking they want to be a gold medal cyclist?
Gravel racer.
Yeah. Oh, dude, actually, that's a perfect point. There are definitely people right now, Scott's one of them, who are thinking like, who would want to win a 200-mile gravel race? Like, that's like the second tier of cycling.
Yeah.
You're the fastest.
Especially
take it back, slow person.
Take it back 10 years when Unbound was like an unknown thing that only a blip of people did. Mm-hmm. And then think of it then of like, oh yeah, there's this goofy race out in Kansas. And I remember my coach.
That's what Ted King did when he won.
I know. I remember my coach talking about this race and he's like, oh yeah, I flatted 6 times and didn't even finish. And he was like proud of it. And I was like, this race sounds so stupid, like so stupid. And now it's like all I'm thinking about when I train is this stupid
when
race.
Ted King won Unbound for the first time in 2015 or whatever it was literally like he just retired and then went to go do this silly bike race. That's where the whole like gravel, like, you know, retired league comes from, because he was the first person to do it.
I mean, a lot of road racers still think of Unbound like that. It's like
100%.
What is
Greg?
Do you think anyone's like
was there last year?
Kid
didn't he
is
just
like 12
retire?
years old dreaming of being a gravel racer, or are they dreaming of being an actual cyclist and then default to that?
I bet in the U.S. there's probably some aspiring gravel.
Maybe
I coach juniors that are aspiring to be gravel pros
already.
I think at this point. I think at this point in 2025, in 2020, and I think it'll only get more like this. I could be wrong. I think at this point in 2025, there are juniors thinking, "Wow, I would love to be a pro gravel racer."
Yeah, I coach a kid. Yeah, I 100%. Coach a kid that's 100. He's never raced road, cross, or mountain bike. He's only a gravel racer. Isn't that crazy?
Whereas if you go back 5 or 10 years. Everybody was thinking like, oh, I don't want to be a pro gravel racer. That's what I'll do if I can't make it.
Yeah.
You know,
and look at where we are. Scott's the only one that isn't a gravel racer yet because he's still making it as a road racer.
Yeah. I don't know about
that. All right, last one here. This is from Rainer. Rainer says, greetings from Europe. The big thing is the 360 at Traca because the race was live streamed on YouTube. Best regards.
So, yeah, actually. Okay. So Danny informed me of this after that episode. The 360 is the premier event at Traca, but all the pros, because I don't know, they're whopping pusses, want to do the 200. They don't want to ride their bike for 11 hours. And so, I mean, I think that the solution to that is, you know, right. Does Traca have prize money? Do they do prize money or no? Do we know? Well, so for example, Gravel Earth Series gave some points to the 200 and some points to the 360. No points for the 200, no prize money for the 200, and no prestige for the 200. If you want any of that, you have to do the 360. And if you want a good training day, you do the 200 if you're a pro. And they have to make that clear.
It looks like they only offer prize money for the 360.
So there's only prize money.
Oh, you're an idiot. Yeah, they're already doing all the things that you just said.
But I mean,
the points though, like they are giving, like Gravel Earth Series is giving points for the 200.
What the hell is the Gravel Earth Series? What is this?
I don't know.
It's a 25 event series across 15 different countries, including those in North America, as well as Canada, Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, Chile, and Europe. which that's a continent, but whatever. Damn, I didn't know they had any in Costa Rica. That'd be sick.
So anyway,
Chile.
So
it
if
sounds
you went,
like
so if you went, you would do the 360.
if that's the premier one, yes, I would do the 360. I would not do the 200. It sounds like 360 is supposed to be the premier one. It's actually not the race that's deciding that there's two races. It's the pros that are deciding, I don't want to do 360 because that's too long for me. And they do the 200 instead. So
The Giro Pio is the one in Costa Rica. Where's the one in Chile? Saga Gravel, Chile. I mean, honestly, like the Gravel Earth series is dope.
kind of, it's a little spread thin.
I know, but if you just go to some of these cool races,
Yeah,
like
no,
if you
no,
just
no,
wanted to have a fun time
Yeah,
and
no,
like see like cool places,
That's not what we're about.
I don't know. I'd be about that now.
Would you
Yeah,
do
no,
if you were
it's
trying to
cool.
have fun, would you do the Lifetime series?
No,
Schwamigan? Pfft, let me drive 12
Schwamigan,
hours
I
to
would do
have
fun.
unfun.
Yeah, that does actually
let me
sound
drive
fun.
12
Schwamigan is-
hours to ride past all the fun.
Schwamigan's.
What a
Oh yeah,
stupid
that's true.
race. I hate
Why is it
I hate the
stupid?
fact that it doesn't, because it's a mountain bike race that doesn't touch mountain bike trails.
Ride a
But it's
different
still
bike.
fun.
It's
you can
fun
call it
because of
whatever you
the
want.
race and because of the atmosphere.
That's what you're talking about, though.
That's like every Lifetime race.
I want to
honestly.
ride the trail.
Okay, then go ride
Honestly,
the trail.
every Lifetime race is only fun because it's a race. Like it
Yes.
wouldn't necessarily be the most amazing time in the world if it was just
That
you're just
actually is
going there to
pretty
ride.
accurate.
That's
Yeah.
why we're doing the ignition camp at Crested Butte instead of Leadville,
'cause it's
even though it's a
actually
Leadville
fun.
camp, because the trails in Crested Butte are fun.
Which we filled up, by the way.
Yeah.
Good job.
There's
Adam.
a wait now. There's a wait
Adam and
list.
Caitlin.
Yep,
Can I get in still? Or I have to pay?
you can get on the wait list.
All right.
Ooh.
You have to pay to be on the wait list?
Man, when you start talking about wait list, now we're hitting it big. We got a wait list for our camp. Dang, I said we as if I'm in that, but I'm not really. This is y'all's camp. Y'all have hit it big.
All right, should we let Dylan go do his 11-hour ride so he can actually hit 40 hours this week, or what?
I'm gonna ride longer than you today just to prove a point.
If you leave now, you might be able to get back before dark and do 11 hours.
and still have time to scroll on your phone while it gets dark.
True. No lights on.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys.
See ya.